In a calendar year, there is about a 20% chance that you will end up receiving a traffic ticket. So, traffic tickets are a fact of life, but in my home state of Connecticut, they're at the center of a major political scandal several years in the making.
Let's take a look back in order to hopefully understand what is going on in the Connecticut State Police Department. This all began in 2018, when supervisors for the police department discovered hundreds of fake traffic tickets issued by 4 state troopers: Timothy Bentley, Noah Govea, Kevin Moore, and Daniel Richter. The supervisors audited the entire state police department, but yielded no results. The audit failed to encapsulate the scale at which these discrepancies were occurring.
Between 2019 and 2020, after the audit had been completed, the supervisors quietly closed the investigation into the 4 state troopers. It was never publicly announced that the case had been closed.
As for the fate of the 4 state troopers, only 2 received any sort of punishment, and even then it was no more than a 10-day suspension at most. 3 of the 4 state troopers are now retired and are each collecting pensions of more than $70,000 annually. Connecticut news outlets discovered the initial fake traffic tickets made by the 4 state troopers and reported on them. In response, the state police colonel, Stavros Melikis, claimed that the incident was isolated and that the state police department had seen no similar issues in the years since. However, anti-racist groups in the state were still concerned, especially because they had never been notified of the fake tickets. The Connecticut Racial Profiling Prohibition Project contacted the state police department. They inquired as to whether fake tickets could have introduced errors into their database, which tracks traffic tickets issued in the state of Connecticut. Eventually, the project decided to audit the traffic tickets in order to cross-reference data from the state police department with their own database. Meanwhile, the chief state attorney, Patrick Griffin, announced that his office had opened a criminal investigation into the incident. They, too, had never been notified of the fake tickets.
That investigation is still ongoing, but the audit by the Racial Profiling Prohibition Project was completed and it found numerous inconsistencies. Essentially, this was not a problem unique to the 4 state troopers, so they expanded their audit to encompass all traffic tickets issued by all state troopers between 2014 and 2021.
This audit revealed that state troopers faked tens of thousands of traffic tickets in the past decade. They lied in an attempt to make it appear as though they were ticketing white drivers and drivers of color at the same rate. That was not the case. As a result of this audit, numerous investigations were opened. The U.S. Department of Justice took over the criminal investigation that had been opened by the chief state attorney. The U.S. Department of Transportation opened an investigation of their own. The governor of Connecticut, Ned Lamont, appointed former U.S. Attorney Deirdre Dolly to lead an independent investigation.
All 3 of these investigations are still ongoing and are likely to take months, if not years, to complete. Right now, the only thing that has come from them is a change of leadership.
In fall of 2023, Governor Ned Lamont replaced the commissioner of the Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection, as well as the state police colonel.
That's all well and good, but what happens now? We've come to a bit of a standstill now that we're waiting on the conclusions of multiple investigations.
As recently as last month, it was revealed that another scandal has taken place within the Connecticut State Police Department, this time pertaining to DUI enforcement shifts. A report published by the Department of Transportation revealed that 3 police officers from the town of Deep River, Connecticut, submitted nearly 100 questionable or inconsistent activity reports made during federally funded overtime shifts. There has been little evidence to suggest that these 3 police officers worked during these shifts at all, despite the fact that they charged the federal government nearly $130,000 in overtime. Between 2016 and 2018, the police officers only made 17 DUI arrests. That's 1 arrest for every 130 hours of overtime. As a result of this report, the town of Deep River has stopped receiving federal funding for overtime shifts, but the 3 officers in question were never punished. All 3 have since retired, including resident trooper Dawn Taylor, who now collects a pension of over $150,000 annually.
Now, if you're wondering why Dawn Taylor is of note, it's because she was one of the many state troopers who was issuing fake traffic tickets.
In the audit by the Connecticut Racial Profiling Prohibition Project, Taylor issued the 3rd highest amount of fake tickets. In fact, fake tickets accounted for almost 34% of all tickets she wrote between 2014 and 2019. In the year 2019 alone, it was 80%. Despite this, nothing has been done to punish Taylor.
Reforms are underway, and one can only hope they will change the state police department for the better.
Among them is a bill proposed by Governor Ned Lamont, which would make it a felony for a police officer to intentionally lie on or falsify records. The bill is now pending before committee. In the meantime, the state awaits the results of the numerous investigations into its ticketing scandal.